It was meant to be a peaceful escape, a much-needed pause from work stress and the dull routine of married life. David and his wife Melissa had planned a 5-day stay at a quiet beachside resort, famous for its scenic beauty and calm vibe. The sun was shining when they arrived, and everything appeared just right. But underneath the smiles, their marriage was showing signs of strain. Signs David had been ignoring for too long. Melissa had grown distant over the past year. Their talks felt forced, their intimacy faded, and the laughter that once filled their days had disappeared. David hoped this vacation might bring back the spark. He thought the ocean breeze and peaceful dinners might reconnect them. But as soon as they checked in, Melissa was glued to her phone, more focused on emails and scrolling through feeds than on him. On the second night, David headed to the bar alone. Melissa said she wanted to stay in and take a work video call. He ordered a drink and sat near a window, watching the waves crash on the shore. Then he noticed her, a graceful woman sitting quietly in the corner, sipping wine and reading. Her name was Julia. She looked up and caught his eye. Instead of looking away, she smiled. That smile stirred something in David, something he'd buried: confidence, desire, feeling seen. She welcomed him over and they talked for hours. Felt easy, effortless, just like conversations with Melissa used to be before everything became about chores, bills, and routines. The next day, David saw Julia again by the pool. Melissa was at the spa, and this time, he didn't feel guilty starting a conversation. They spoke about life, dreams, and disappointments. Julia was divorced, a traveling artist, who said she preferred short connections. She made it sound poetic, even meaningful. Swept up in her charm, David didn't flinch when she lightly touched his hand. By the fourth night, it all escalated. They walked along the moonlit beach, just the two of them, and then David kissed her. It wasn't planned, but it didn't feel wrong either. For the first time in years, he felt desired. They went back to her room. What happened was part desire, part escape, part longing to feel alive again. The guilt didn't hit him right away. When he returned, Melissa was asleep, unaware of what had happened. The next morning she acted different. She was more affectionate than usual, suggested paddleboarding, and even laughed, something she hadn't done in months. It was like she felt him slipping away, and was trying to hold on. The guilt came crashing in. David avoided Julia all day, telling himself it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But that night the bartender handed him a note. Room 214. One last time. He stared at it for a while, torn between regret and temptation. Instead of going to her, he walked to the beach alone. He sat there thinking about Melissa, about Julia, and about the man he'd become. He realized cheating hadn't fixed anything. It only brought more pain and shame. Julia may have been an escape, but she wasn't the answer. When he returned to the room, Melissa was asleep again. He watched her for a long time, wondering if there was anything left to save. The next morning he told her everything. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just sat there in silence, face unreadable. Later that day she packed her things and left early for the airport. Without him, David stayed behind, alone in the same place they had hoped would save their relationship, but instead revealed its end. On the final day, David walked the beach by himself, this time filled with sorrow. Julia had checked out without a word, and Melissa, she would never see him the same again.